And now I'd like to introduce our next creator, Eric Powell. Eric has made a name for himself in the industry by working on such titles as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Star Wars, Swamp Thing, The She-Hulk, The Simpsons, and of course he's most well known as the creator of The Goon. Please. Eric has won 5 Will Eisner Awards between 2004 and 2008, and The Goon is actually in the works to become an animated feature film. So we'd like to introduce the man who's also fathered Satan's baby, Eric Powell.
Thanks. So are we just going into a Q&A?
Probably the question at the front of my brain is, with a publisher like Dark Horse behind you, I think that they might have helped you realize a dream that every comic geek has, and that's to work on Action Comics. How much of a jazz was it to do that story arc in Action Comics?
It was really great because I got to work with Jeff Johns, who's a great writer, and you know, I like writing my own material. Specifically because it's a selfish thing. I like to draw what I want to draw. You know, I don't want to do someone else's idea. But when you're working with a good writer, it makes it really easy because they know how to pace a story. You get scripts sometimes from someone who may not have written a comic before or is just not that good, and they'll have 25 actions on a page, you know, where it's like the guy gets shot at, he ducks the bullet, takes a backflip out the window, and that's panel 1, you know? And it's like, it's impossible to draw. You have to think in still frames,
right.
You know?
So it's, Randy said it best, that there should be one action per panel and one idea per page.
Exactly. That's a good formula for that. But yeah, I loved Superman was my thing as a kid. You know, I Spider-Man, the Hulk, and Superman. You know, so to get to actually draw Superman in an action comic was pretty awesome. And a Bizarro story, which is probably the only Superman story I'd be suited for. You know, I don't think. I don't think, you know, I'm not the guy who's going to be drawing, nor I wouldn't want to, but I don't think DC would be hiring me either to draw a monthly Superman, you know, book. I'm not really, that's not really my you know, my genre, but to do a Bizarro story, it fit, and I had a lot of fun doing it.
It was awesome.
Thanks. I like this passing the mic thing because it's going to make this panel go by really quick, running the mic back and forth. I just get to sit here for a little while until the mic gets.
Thanks. I was wondering about the Goon film. Are you going to be a producer on it or anything that's going to give you any kind of control over it, or they just?
Yeah, I have.
I'm just afraid it's going to get screwed up by like standard development.
No, it's not going to get screwed up. I have to say, I've heard a lot of horror stories about people getting stuff optioned, not just comics, but just scripts and stuff like that, where, you know, oh, here's our idea, it's being optioned, you know, and then the suits come in. You know what'd make this better? You know, that kind of thing. As soon as someone says that, you know, a lot of times it's like, I just made the comment last night to somebody. We were at dinner and they were talking about, you know, stuff getting optioned, and I said it's like some person who creates something for a living, an artist, has an idea and then takes it to the teller at the bank, and the teller tells them what's wrong with it and how it should be better. You know, that's basically the scenario. But I'm heavily involved with the Goon movie, and I'm working with you know, Dark Horse Entertainment and David Fincher and Blur Animation, which is the best possible scenario I could have because they're all 100% dedicated to listening to my input, listening to my opinion, having me involved in every aspect of the, decision-making process, and it's just been great. And Fincher's a guy who has a lot of, integrity in his work, so he doesn't, he does things his own way, so that's good for me, because it's like I have this guy watching my back who's not going to, basically sell out, so. Yeah. Another question?
Skipping like an elf. This is on. All right. First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
If there was going to be a live action Goon movie, who would you choose? Because a lot of people said Bruce Willis seems to be a good fit for the Goon.
I don't know about Bruce Willis. Actually, the guy we have in line to do the voice of the Goon is Clancy Brown, and that's who I would. When I was thinking about a live action movie, I was thinking about Clancy Brown. I mean, he would be great. He's got the stature and the presence, I think, in the voice. Yeah.
Are you going to have a cameo?
Well, they'd have to animate me, so I might. I think I could actually get a voice cameo in there. Maybe that would be fun. Any other questions?
What else should I say?
So some of you seemed kind of surprised by the Clancy Brown thing, so I'll tell you who we have lined up for Frankie too, who is Paul Giamatti. So they've already we're working on some test stuff, and they came in and did some voiceover for the test, and it was great. It was really cool. I got, Tim Miller, the guy who runs Blur, as soon as Giamatti said, "Knife to the eye," he said I had a grin across my face like this wide. So it was pretty awesome.
About the dog?
What's that? Oh yeah, we don't have, we're not saying anybody else right now. So. Anybody else?
I was just wondering if you could do an extended run of like a really established like Marvel or DC character, or I guess Funny Animal or Archie or anything like that. What would you want to do? I'm talking like a good like 20, 25 issues.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The problem with wanting to do work for Marvel and DC, and I love those characters. I mean, I was a Marvel kid, so I loved, all that stuff. And the problem now being is that they're so continuity driven that you can't really go like, hey, I want to go do a Batman story or a X-Men story or something, and have free reign to really do what you want to do. You have to work in the Marvel continuity.
What if you had total free reign, like anything?
If it had total,
anything you wanted, totally cool.
I would do the Demon. I like the Demon. I would want to do something different with it. I like the Kirby stuff, the original Kirby stuff, just because it was so insane and crazy, and it was him fighting giant Frankenstein monsters and stuff. And I would like to do something like that, but. I mean, my favorite classic comic was Jack Kirby's stuff on Fantastic Four. I just thought that was a great science fiction comic. It wasn't really a superhero comic. It seemed like a science fiction comic, and I'd love to do something like that. But again, I have too much fun and too much freedom doing my own stuff that I don't think I'll ever be swayed. I'm not saying I would never, because who knows. People might stop buying the Goon, and then I need money. So, but it would take a lot to pull me away from doing my own material full time. Next.